Hello and happy Thanksgiving. Boy, we have winter outside the window here in West Michigan. Snow, some wind, and some icy conditions. Temperatures have fallen far enough that some of the snow has melted and then turned to ice on some area roads. So beware of that if you're going to be doing some driving today. Winter storm warnings continue until 7 p.m. We'll see a total snow accumulation of about 2 to 8 inches. We've probably already had an inch and a half where I am. And some drifting to go along with that. It will stay windy today, but not as windy as yesterday. We may see a gust up around 30 to 35 inland and 35 to 40 at the lake. Slippery spots will continue, though, on the roads, so beware of that. Well, let's take a look at what we still have in effect here. The winter storm warning for the counties that are in pink, and that's basically north of Kent County and south of Kent County. And in those areas, we can expect an additional 1 to 4 inches of snow today, gusty winds causing a little bit of drifting, and some slick spots on the area roads. So again, the winter storm warning continues until 7 p.m. right on through the day. Now, we also have on the next slide the winter weather advisory, and that's in the purple color, and that runs until 7 p.m. for accumulations up to 2 inches, with winds gusting around 25 to 35 miles an hour. In the purple counties, there may be more of a problem from snow drifting on the roads and creating some icy spots than anything else. But it'll stay windy and cold out there, and look for some winds gusting around 25 to 30 miles an hour. Now, the counties in yellow that's a high wind warning, and this actually covers 6 counties. It covers Van Buren, Allegan, Ottawa, Muskegon, Oceana, and Mason counties. The winter storm warning overrides the high wind warning. So that's why those counties are still colored pink instead of yellow. And this is for gusts to continue during the day today, but this expires right here during the early morning at around 7 a.m. So it will stay windy, but we won't have the high wind warning. And the same thing for the wind advisory, which is for the counties that you see in that kind of tannish color over toward Lansing, Alma, and Flint. The wind advisory is for gusts up to 40 to 45 miles an hour here. But most of the day, winds will probably be gusting to around 30 to 35 or so tops. All right, peak wind gusts today, or actually yesterday, down in Michigan City, Indiana. That was the highest one I saw at 66 miles an hour. And look at the picture there from South Haven. I mean, that's a big wave that is going up over. We had one report of waves running about 10 feet or so. Of course, as the waves approach shore, they break, and they aren't quite as, you're not going to find a 10-foot wave walking up Holland State Park there, but it certainly is interesting. We had winds over 60 miles an hour at Roosevelt Park, that's in Muskegon County, at Grand Haven, Ludington, Whitehall, Saugatuck, and a 60-mile-an-hour gust at Navy Pier in downtown Chicago. And that was at more toward ground level. I mean, they have a big Ferris wheel there, or a big wheel. I guess you can't call it Ferris wheel because of copyright yet, but that was a rather windy day on Lake Michigan, that's for sure. And a few more wind gusts for you here. Douglas is, of course, in Allegan County. Keeler is in Van Buren County. Holland Beach had a gust of 57 miles an hour. Allegan also at 57, 56 at South Haven. Inland gusts weren't quite as strong. Peak gust in Grand Rapids during the day was 48 miles an hour, and Kalamazoo at 46 miles an hour. And we had some interesting information coming into us from Tom Levand, who was over at the Lakeshore and issued this report. Winds gusting exceeding 50 to 60 miles an hour, average wind speeds in the 20 to 30 mile an hour range, and lulls from 5 to 20 miles an hour. So it was quite variable, and that's what happens when you're actually tapping a large layer of air. The winds are mixing throughout the lower levels there, and so you tend to get gusty conditions here, especially out over the lake. And of course, you had the snow to deal with as well. I was in a little bit of a sleet shower today, early in the morning, and with a 40 mile an hour wind coming at me, that hurt. I mean, it was not pleasant at all. But we got my wife to a couple of doctor appointments and had a pretty good day. More from Tom here in a little bit, but thank you, Tom, for sending that to us. We've had the blizzard warning in effect here. That continues until 10 a.m. this Thanksgiving Day for the counties that are in red. And the National Weather Service says total snow accumulations could be as high as 30 inches, greatest in areas of higher terrain. Winds gusting as high as 30 to 45 miles an hour. Travel should be, and this is an interesting statement, travel should be restricted to emergencies only. So I know some of you, there's a few of you that may be heading across the bridge up into the UP. Beware of the fact that, especially during the morning, things will not be very pleasant driving up there. The area just west of Marquette, there's a little town named Herman, and it's a very sparsely settled area there, but that's the area that tends to get one of the higher snow totals there, and so we're waiting to see what comes in. They've had continuous records for that little town for the longest time, and it certainly is a very snowy place. Okay, the weekend storm. We have a two-part storm here. We're going through the first part right now. And then we have a second low pressure system that's going to come out and produce some significant snow across parts of Iowa, Illinois, Wisconsin, and lower Michigan. And I could certainly see another at least several inches of snow falling here from Saturday through about early afternoon on Sunday. And here's what the Weather Prediction Center says. There is a smaller but still significant area of probabilities between 40 and 70% for 18 inches of snow. That's not to say we're going to get that here, okay? It's more likely you're going to see 3 to 6, but this is going to be more snow that we'll have to get the plows out for because it'll be a couple degrees colder, and this will be sticking to the roads. I continue here. Isolated totals could exceed 30 inches, including what has already fallen across the Michigan UP. Best chances are likely over the western UP terrain and areas downwind of Lake Michigan and Traverse Bay. So that would be areas off to the north of Big Rapids as you get up toward Mansalona and Kalkaska, that area up there. I wouldn't be surprised if somebody there had over a foot of snow on the ground by Sunday evening. All right, here's 66-hour snowfall. And as you can see, we've got this big glob of snow. If you take a look at the table over on the right side there, you can see 6 inches is the yellow color, and that's a huge area of 6 inches of snow. And that covers much of southern Minnesota into Iowa. And that orange color right there, there's a little small area where there could be a foot of snowfall. And 6 inches up to Milwaukee. You can see the snow on our side of the lake too. So let's go into the next slide, which will bring us into the Great Lakes region. And you can see in West Michigan that bullseye of red up there around Kalkaska, Mansalona, where they're going to see some significant snow. And same thing, there's a couple little bands up there in upper Michigan where they could see some significant snow, up to a foot of snow there as well. So that's a pretty large area of the UP that's going to see snow, and a good portion of West Michigan. This is absolutely total snow, and it's got 6 inches in yellow and 8 inches in orange for West Michigan, and that would be for a 3-day total of Thursday, Friday, Saturday combined. So more winter weather on the way. Here's a look at what it looks like in West Michigan. And as you can see, the scale over on the right side there, the 8-inch total would include parts of Van Buren County, Cass County, just north of South Bend. And again, that red bullseye, where what you're going to get is a lake effect band that's going to come over Lake Superior, cross the UP, then come over Lake Michigan. So it's going to be kind of refreshed by 2 passes over the Great Lakes. Great Lakes water temperatures are mostly in the mid-40s, and with temperatures above the ground down to around 10 above, down about a mile above ground. I mean, that's quite a difference, and that will certainly create instability, which will keep those snow bands going. All right, let's go on here. There's a picture from the Holland Beach from the City of Holland camera there. Thanks to Big Lake Brewing for sponsoring that camera. And look at what's going on. You got a really strong west wind, and that west wind is pushing the water up on shore. And I would say we've probably got about, an extra, what would that be, about 80, 90 feet of water that's there, that's being pushed up on shore. And so we've lost a little bit of beach. And of course, as the wind dies down, that will all dissipate. But you can see the water temperatures. Reed's Lake, by the way, fell 3 degrees in 24 hours. So that was quite a drop. And instead of storm warnings, we have gale warnings in effect here during the day today. Waves could reach as high as 8 to 14 feet, and west winds 30 to as high as, I don't know if there'll be a gust of 50 knots here. There'll probably be strong gusts up to around 40 to 45 maybe, and that would be tops. All right. Today's weather, 33 degrees, the high temperature. That's about 10 degrees colder than average for this time of year. Snow is likely. Probably won't be snowing all the time, but you'll get in one of those bands and it'll snow pretty good for a little bit and then let up. It will be windy, but not as windy as yesterday. Temperatures generally at or below freezing here. Humidity levels high, winds inland west at 15 to 25 miles an hour. Here's a look at high temperatures across the state today, and boy, there's no warm air to be found. 32 Chicago, may reach the mid-30s right at the Lake Michigan shoreline there with the water temperatures in the 40s as the wind eases back just a little bit. Detroit at 35, Gaylord there at 31, and up in the UP, some temperatures in the 20s there, especially along the Wisconsin border. And we look at the high temperatures for Friday, readings will be in the low 30s. Not much change. Gaylord, a couple degrees cooler at 27. Ratings will be in the 20s in the UP. A lot of the ski resorts will be making snow, so check their websites and see. I know Ski Brule opened up here for this weekend, and they're going to have some January-like snow up there. Base was already 18 to 36 inches, and then they're getting all this snow on top of that. All right, I thought I'd show you high temperatures for this Thanksgiving Day across the country. The average temperature of the whole United States is right about average. I think when I checked, it was 1/10 of a degree from exactly average for the entire contiguous 48 states. It's still warm down in South Florida, but the cold front's going to go through them and turn them a little bit cooler here for tomorrow. You've got the coldest weather over the Midwest, the Great Lakes region, and the cold air will be settling into New England. Much of Canada, of course, is very cold as well, pretty typical. Warm in Arizona, kind of nice there too. Here's a look at what we expect. 70% chance of snow showers today. That's about 30% of the area over toward the Lansing, Jackson, Coldwater area. May not see much in the way of snow today, but some of those bands will pick up a little bit. So 70-80% chance of seeing measurable snow. 33 degrees. We're below freezing here Friday and Saturday, maybe a smidgen of sun Friday and next Monday, but not a lot. And you can see I got the 5 snowflake icon in for Saturday and Sunday. Snowy weekend coming up, not like all those other weekends we had here this fall. We had a lot of nice ones, but it's certainly cold enough for the snow to be sticking and for there to be icy spots on the roads. Combined, Saturday and Sunday combined, probably 3 to 6, could be even be 4 to 8 inches from that episode. It's seldom that this snow lasts forever, but the cold air continues here through the first week of December, and I could actually see about 3 weeks down the road an even colder batch of air getting here because it's going to be building up in Canada. And looking at the long-range maps and what cold air normally does, a lot of times you look at climate. What does the climate do? In past years when we've had an initial little vort lobe of the polar vortex come down, you tend to get a bigger blob coming down about 3 weeks later. So Santa will like that, that's for sure. But you can see it warms up a little bit in the west. And we're expecting ample rain and snow across most all of the country, easing back some of the areas that were in drought stage here a little bit earlier. So all in all, wow, pretty interesting day here. So let's see, I think Michelle is joining us.
Happy Thanksgiving!
That's true, yes.
Woo!
What's new at the airport? Anything with travel?
I was pretty busy. There were some weather interruptions.
I guess Chicago had quite a backload.
Yeah, but it was good. It's so nice to see people traveling with their families and their dogs. Travel a lot this time of year, so it was good times.
Nothing a dog appreciates more than spending the beach with the folk down at Disneyland or something, huh?
Yeah.
Disney World.
Yeah. Thanksgiving is one of my favorite holidays. I love to watch the parade. It's so good.
I like Thanksgiving food. I really do. I enjoy the turkey and the mashed potatoes and the cranberry sauce and all that traditional stuff that we had that every Thanksgiving, and it really reminds me of what it was like back when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm. And I have 1 year of experience as a balloon handler in the Chicago Thanksgiving Day Parade.
Yes,
So
tell everybody about that.
that is a true story. I don't know how I found out about it or how even I signed up, because it was 2003 and I don't think a lot of things happened through the internet yet. But I found out that you could just sign up, and sister was living in Chicago at the time. So I signed myself up, and you had to be there at 4 in the morning, which meant I had to get up at 3:30 in the morning and walk across downtown Chicago to get to the meeting place. I was assigned to Frosty the Snowman, and there was no training or instructions, just there's the balloon. This is what you hold on to. Off we go.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did,
Mm-hmm.
did you see the bit I did yesterday about Chili Willy or whatever, the balloon that broke
Yes.
loose and wound up
Yeah.
in Lake not Lake Huron, but Lake St. Clair, I think.
Yes. Fortunately, that did not happen with Frosty in Chicago in 2003. But we do have another Thanksgiving parade balloon story happening today.
Okay.
Okay, so the first parade was held in 1924 in New York City, and 250,000 people came out, which is a lot of people in 1924. Santa was crowned the king of the kitties, and there actually wasn't that much media fanfare on the parade. And the success of it replaced what they used to have, which was called Ragamuffin Day, which I had never heard of before, where kids dressed up in rags and went begging door to door, but trick-or-treating kind of took over that, and now they do the Thanksgiving Day Parade instead.
When I was a little kid, where I grew up in Wilmette, Illinois, they had Beggars Night on the 30th. And you dressed up like a little waif, from Les Miserables, and got some candy. So we got to go 2 days instead of one. That's a nice Santa Claus they have there, isn't that?
That is.
Yeah, not quite as elaborate as what they have today.
Okay, so here's the other balloon story. Do you remember when Barney got completely destroyed during the 1997 Macy's parade? All millennials were traumatized by this.
Oh, my.
Yes, 43-mile-an-hour winds. Barney was a big balloon. Hit. They were having trouble controlling it. It was swaying back and forth.
Oh, I bet. Why did they do that at 43 miles an hour? I mean, don't they have a threshold?
Well, there's a saying in industry that, like, safety regulations are written in blood, which is a terrible thing to say, but they did develop a lot of laws and regulations that followed that probably had to do with what happened when I did it in Chicago in 2003. A lot of it probably came from that. But this is saying that Macy's since then imposed fitness tests for their balloon handlers, and no one tested my fitness in Chicago. So,
well, yeah, if they did, they would have found out you were very fit.
Anyway, so Barney,
go ahead.
Barney hit a lamppost, and I watched the video of this. It's online. You can look it up, and just like got torn open in two. So then it's all over the place and eventually crashed onto the handlers below. So they're trying to not let this interrupt the parade, right? Because the show's got to go on. Yeah. So New York City law enforcement response. I shouldn't laugh because a few people were actually seriously hurt. But the video shows all these New York law enforcement officers stabbing Barney, trying to get him to deflate so that the parade can go on.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's...
Oh, how horrible.
So New York City, just what do we have to do to have this never happen again? But fortunately or unfortunately, it was in the age of video, so we can all relive it whenever we want to. Tethering requirements, dimensions for the balloons, and then limitations where they don't do them or they do them differently if they exceed certain thresholds. And I will say, when I did the one in Chicago, Frosty was not one big balloon. He was a big tarp that had, I think, 3 or 4 smaller balloons inside.
Oh, okay.
So the tarp actually had holes all over the place. And it was just the balloons inside that were actually why it was in the air.
I was going to say, the city of Grand Rapids used to call me, and I used to give them a wind forecast in advance, and then right at the time of the fireworks, the 4th of July. And they had a threshold of, I think, 17 miles an hour sustained, or 17 miles an hour sustained and gusts over 30. That they would not put the fireworks up because they were, they would blow away and they could start a fire. Remember the big fire at Dewey? Were you around when they had the big fire at Dewey Hill?
Yeah, I remember.
That was God. That was back in the 1990s, I think, at Grand Haven. Everybody was watching the fire instead of the fireworks.
Mm-hmm.
It was
Well,
crazy.
I guess the lesson in it is it's amazing how much better we can do when we account for weather.
Yes. And Barney has been resurrected, so look for Barney in the parade.
Yes.
Wow.
Okay.
Oh,
Birthdays. I can barely even tell you the history of these people, but happy birthday to Bruce Lee and Jimi Hendrix.
Bruce Lee did some amazing movies. He was quite the athlete, and you can go to YouTube and see some of his not sped up fights and some of the stunts that he did. He was really amazing. And Jimi Hendrix, of course, one of the best guitar players ever, in my opinion. Purple Haze, famous song that he did. From England, and that was 1942. So, golly, that was he. If he were still around, he'd be well up in his 80s. Wow, I'm feeling old.
On this day in 1973, Ford was confirmed the vice president, and it was the first time a vice president was appointed under the terms of the 25th Amendment, which handled these things. And he said that being vice president would be a, quote, nice conclusion to his career.
Yes, indeed. It was
And
interesting.
then there were other things.
Spiro Agnew was the vice president, and he was convicted, I believe, of taking kickbacks from the construction industry or something like that. He was Spiro Agnew was the governor of Maryland, I think, before he became vice president.
Politician's been a politician.
Yeah, and I remember Ford calmed things down. Alan Greenspan was once asked who the most honest politician was in Washington, D.C., and he said Jerry Ford. I thought that was quite the compliment. Yeah.
Yeah, a nice conclusion to his career, and then fate had other plans.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, and Nixon left right before I started on TV. Tell you the truth, I think that was 74, if I'm not mistaken. Because I was on the board of the Boy Scouts, and he would, on very rare occasion, have something to do with the Boy Scouts. And I was on the committee that did the Gerald R. Ford hike through Grand Rapids, and Jerry Ford sent me a nice little autographed copy of the trail guide.
Cool.
So yeah, I still have that right above my desk here.
That must have been a wild thing in history to live through all that turmoil of that time period.
Well, there was, and you had John Kennedy, Robert Kennedy, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X. I mean, people were questioning the FBI and really wondering what was going to come next. And after the very quiet and economically booming 1950s, the 60s were a real speed bump.
All right, let's see what else we've got. Oh, this is really cool. This is from Maryland. I'm going to pronounce it wrong. Oymyakon is the coldest permanently inhabited city in the world.
Yes, Oymyakon, I think is how it's going.
Oymyakon, okay, thank you. And
I paid some money to AccuWeather to get their climate history, and you can. I really should look them up. I haven't done that in a while. Oymyakon is in Siberia. I think they're related to the energy field, and they have some mines there as well. But it's basically a warm, desolate spot in the summertime, and in the wintertime, it is unbelievably cold. The only place colder is Antarctica, and I've seen temperatures there as cold as I believe the coldest ever was 90 below zero or something like that.
Yeah, so here it is. The population's about 900 today. At one point, there were about 2,500. And the mountains trap the cold air, and it's hard for warm air to get in. And in 1933, a temperature of, that's not 89.9, that's negative 98.9 Fahrenheit was recorded. And only Antarctica and Greenland have ever officially recorded lower temperatures. And
Greenland, of course, is a solid ice sheet, and it's raised up, so it's at higher elevations. Yeah, Fairbanks Alaska is in kind of a valley there that they can get pretty cold. But,
so very cool that you were flying over that spot. I'm trying to think of what the route would be, like where you were flying to and from, because I don't think Japan would have you go directly north. Maybe. But
That is really interesting. Can we
yeah,
go back to the picture again? Let me see it. Because I flew coming back from London. We flew over, and I think you were asleep, and I almost woke you up because I just thought the crowd was having so much fun watching me geek out over looking down and seeing Greenland.
which time? Because one time you and I flown back from London twice, and one time I was a part of it, and we were the three people staring out the window looking at Greenland while everyone else was watching movies.
Yeah, that could be. Yeah, and I thought, wow. I mean, I never thought in my life I'd ever see Greenland.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah,
And always a rough patch of air. Almost every London flight I
yes,
have, the air gets real rough up there.
yeah, and there's no place to land anywhere near where we were. We crossed Greenland, the southern tip of Greenland, but we were crossing Greenland for golly 125 150 miles.
Mm-hmm.
That arc that you fly, getting from Europe to the United States.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so here's a pro travel tip. Let me grab this glass that I have. So you're riding along, enjoying your drink on your plane, and there starts to be a lot of turbulence. What do? If you lift up your glass and you toast the turbulence, your hand will shake with the turbulence, and your glass won't spill.
Oh, it won't spill?
But if you
So
leave
you
it
hold your
sitting,
glass up.
yep, if you leave it sitting on your tray, it's going to shake. But if you toast it, because the first time, because we were in a premium cabin and the turbulence hit coming home from London, and I see all the drinks just going up in the air, and I was like, "That's amazing! Thank you."
So you just
people
start singing "L'Chaim" or something like that. And you're
exactly. Yes. Yes. I've taught that to other people on planes before too. It works. It's good.
Neat. Well, you've been on planes a lot. I mean, how many? Yeah, and that includes cleaning planes and everything else.
That's true. If you count the ones I clean, every once in a while I still do that.
Well, you're certified to do just about everything at the airport except fly the plane, right?
That is true. I do have my industrial truck. So the federal government trusts me to drive industrial equipment around an airport, which I think is wild.
Well, you did the that picture of you de-icing the plane up in Traverse City.
That's a separate training yet.
And that's you were 2-3 stories high.
Mm-hmm. You're strapped in. There's redundant safety measures, which make you feel good about it.
Oh, neat.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thanks to Mary Lynn for sending this to us. That's a great picture, and if she took that picture, that's a keeper.
Yeah, what a once in a lifetime thing to see.
Yeah, isn't that amazing? And you wonder what they have all that permanent ice up in Greenland and Antarctica and whatnot. And you ever wonder what's underneath there? Is it just ice?
Mm-hmm.
So you hit dirt or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, interesting stuff.
Yeah, very cool. Okay, so that's where it is.
Yeah.
And John Doherty, and I remember many happy days in this part of the world.
Oh yeah, and that, I mean that's a pretty big dune that you've got up there. You get up in there. I remember there was a hill on the east side of Lake Leelanau, and I was surprised at how big a hill that was. I thought it was all flat up there, and there were really some pretty good sized hills and dunes.
Mm-hmm. So my other travel tip, not when it's a blizzard, but like other times, don't wait for the weather to be perfect. Don't wait for the situation to be perfect because you'll never go. Just go. Because in this area, we would have exchange students from the music school. There was a boarding music school up there. And we would have the exchange students who didn't want to fly back to their countries stay with us on the breaks. And we would take them to the dunes in December, and we'd all put on coats and we would do that dune climb because in December is better than never.
Fun.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, you had kids from France and China and.
Mm-hmm. We had kids in the summer from Blue Lake too.
Yeah, and a lot of them were just great musicians and fun to have around.
Yeah. But yeah, really, really nice part of the world and so much to do up there.
Yeah. Very fun.
Oh, and these are amazing too. This is from yesterday.
Jay Jerka sent this to us. This is November 26th. And I did see on the Gluro camera there were a couple of are those called kite boarders or
kite surfers?
Wave jumpers or something like that?
Yeah, I think this is an awesome pick.
I was in Grand Haven once and I saw one that had to have gotten 3-4 stories up in the air.
That's
Wow.
amazing. Yeah, and like he got one on either side of the lighthouse. What an amazing
Yeah,
picture.
that's a really cool picture.
Hmm.
Thanks, Jay. That's
Yeah, I hope they had fun.
great.
I think we've got one more from him. Yeah.
Well, yeah, look at and Pierre Marquette Park is over in Muskegon.
Hmm.
So yeah, you can actually get. I don't know. It's a little tougher with the due west wind because the waves come into the channel there, and you get the water actually backing up into those lakes like Muskegon Lake and Lake Makatawa, Pentwater Lake. When you get a really strong west wind, the channel kind of reverses its flow, and water flows back into the channel,
Hmm.
which is really kind of interesting. But yeah, big waves out there for sure.
And they were brave for bundling up and going out there to get this picture.
Yeah,
Well, thanks, Jay.
that's great. Thank you so
Hmm.
much.
Hmm. Yeah, and the color of the trees against the sky and the red
Mhm.
lighthouse, just so good.
Yeah,
Oh, and similarly, here's John Scully's take on
and
it.
look at those waves. Look at
Hmm.
the light the pilot light over there on the right side, the channel light.
Hmm.
It's totally covered by the wave coming up there, and I don't know. One time I looked up to see how tall a pilot light is out there. That's I think where I got about 17, 18 feet. So it's a pretty good wave.
Yeah.
And of course, they got the snow fences up. They put those up early.
Hmm.
And on a day like today, you get more blowing sand than anything.
Hmm.
And that
Oh,
can hurt.
yeah. I wonder
The
if
wind
that was
pushes it
comfortable.
along. Yeah,
Yeah.
but neat picture.
Okay.
Oh,
Is that
okay.
my last thing? Oh, okay. We'll play
Video.
John Scully. He sent me a winter video. So let's play that. And we'll be right back. I don't think this is full screen. I think we're still.
Very nice.
There is the storm coming down in Muskegon, and I got a chill just watching it.
Yeah, and it's interesting that the heaviest snow when you have a strong wind like this is often inland, closer to 131 than right at the immediate lakeshore.
Hmm.
So we'll see if that holds with this event.
Hmm.
Oh,
That
interesting.
reminded me how happy I was when snow days were called in high school.
Wasn't that fun?
You watch
Yeah.
your school turn up on the loop, then you got to watch it one more time to make sure.
Hmm.
Then you go back to bed till like
Right.
10.
And I remember when I first got there, I think I've told this story before. TV stations did not do school closings. In fact, WZZM didn't sign on the air until 6:58, and they signed off
Wow.
at midnight. And we had that
Wow.
picture of the Indian chief is what they
Uh-huh.
just put on the screen for 7 hours. And we
Yeah.
signed on at 6:58 with first the national anthem and the Blue Angels. And then we had 1 minute of Jack LaLanne doing exercises. Okay, everybody get down on the floor. We're going to do 10 push-ups. And I'm like, no, we're not.
Yes. That's fantastic.
Uh, but they did that. And then we ran Bozo the Clown from
Hmm.
7 to 7, no, from 7 to 7:30, we did the Lone Ranger. And then 7:30 to 8, we did Bozo. And then Bozo, I think, expanded to an hour for a little while, and we ran Bozo for the longest time. We were one of the last stations to
Really?
do Bozo.
Bozo was every day?
Was every weekday, and
Wow.
then they moved Bozo. Yeah, they taped 3 shows on Monday and 2 shows on Tuesday.
Are you talking about the local show? So Dick Richards?
The local show, you're right.
He did that much Bozo?
He did that much Bozo. Yes, indeed.
That's a lot of Bozo.
It certainly is.
Both of my sisters got to play Bucket Bonanza, and I never did. Sore subject.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
He had a line for everything. You hurt your toe. Oh well, we'll have to call the tow truck for that. Spontaneous, just one right after the other.
But I still played with the toys that they won playing Bucket Bonanza. I remember Marie won a red wagon and somebody won Uno cards. Those were awesome.
I think we
Yeah.
still have those somewhere.
Yeah.
We
Bucket
never throw
Bonanza
anything out in
sponsored
this
by
family.
Meyer.
We have closets stuffed with jigsaw puzzles and games and all kinds of stuff.
Hmm. That's a fun game to play when you visit your parents' house. What's the oldest thing I can find in this house?
Uh, here I am.
Okay, that's funny. And
Yeah,
probably true.
it's probably true. We have a lamp here that we got from my parents that's probably older than me, though I don't know for sure.
Even the house is younger than you, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
62, 63 was when the house was built.
Yeah.
So yeah, right.
Hmm.
Interesting. What isn't older than me?
Trying to think of what's in the house that's really old that comes to mind. I'm not sure.
Mom will tell you it's the living room sofa. I think she
Funny.
has another one. Um, yeah, because I tend to not throw stuff out and hang on to stuff forever.
You're really not that bad.
Well, I don't know. I mean, a lot of people have, storage units and stuff like that where they store stuff. We don't have anything in an attic. We do have stuff in the basement, but
Hmm.
you know, yeah, I don't know. I think we have more than one vacuum cleaner. Anybody out there need a vacuum cleaner? What else do we have up here? I'd like to see stuff be used, so I wouldn't mind giving some stuff away. I gave away a bunch of potted plants to my dentist. That was kind of interesting. I still got
All
a few
right.
of those.
How does that happen? They're cleaning your teeth and he's just like, I wish I had some potted plants. And you're like,
I,
well, good news. I've
I
got
was
too
thinking
many.
we were house cleaning and we had some plants here and if anybody, I said that to the dental technicians, anybody want a plant? I had a rubber tree plant that was about 6-7 feet high and it was brushing the ceiling and he said that he's got not only a wife who loves to play with plants like that but also 2-story ceiling in the living room or whatever, so he could accommodate a big growing rubber tree plant.
Hmm.
So interesting, but yeah, I mean, like for instance, I don't know how much any of this stuff is any good. I have old golf clubs. I'm sure there's a lot of those floating around. Dishes, we have really nice dishes and we never use them.
Hmm.
And the kids don't want them, and that's true we still have an Encyclopedia Britannica from back like in the 70s,
Hmm.
whatever. So
For my law school books, I used to throw them on bugs.
okay,
That's
yeah,
what heavy books are for. My rules of civil procedure got like thrown on big giant southern bugs in Dallas.
yeah, you have those down there.
Uh-huh.
We have other problems. We have stink bugs and we have ladybugs, and well, they're not ladybugs. They're such and such a beetle, I was told once.
Hmm.
But yeah, we live near an orchard, and they do spray a little bit, and I think that holds the bug population down just a little bit.
The one thing that's gone missing in your house that I've tried to find and I haven't been able to find it is my Grand Rapids Civic Theater jacket.
Oh, no kidding.
So back in the day, if you were a kid and you got into a show at the Grand Rapids Civic Theater, the trendy thing would be to get a varsity jacket. They were black and white with your name on it that said Grand Rapids Civic Theater in the back. And then you could go around telling the world that the Grand Rapids Civic Theater actually cast you in one of their plays, which was not that easy to get in. I'm sure it's still not. And I was so proud that I was in Annie. You guys got me one of those jackets, and it would actually still fit today if only I could find it.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll have to look around for it.
Last time I was there, I looked for quite a bit, and I don't know.
Huh. I don't remember throwing it out or anything like that.
No, I would never would have thrown that out.
Yeah, that was a great play. That really
I was
was.
so shocked they actually let me in one of their plays. I would not have thrown out the jacket.
You were July.
Very good. You remember. And I still
did.
have the teddy bear that you gave me on closing night. He's downstairs.
I had well, hang on a second. Is this little guy at all? Or?
No,
No,
that's not him.
okay. Somebody said
No.
a teddy bear here, and I went, okay, I'll just building a teddy bear, doing the weather. Okay.
But now we're doing show and tell. No, it's in this house. It's downstairs. It's come with me every move we've ever had.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think civic theater is amazing, and if you haven't taken in a civic theater play, please consider that because it's really high quality, and there's quite a wide variety of shows you can pick from.
I do still have the shirt. At the end of the show, the cast makes a shirt, and I do have the one from Annie. I don't have the one from King and I.
We have a program here somewhere. I remember. I saved one of those.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think. I think I saw Annie with you in it like 11 times. So a couple of
Mhm.
times I wound up ushering or something like that and not paying a lot of
Mhm.
attention.
Mhm.
But it was really well done. And a couple of people went on to bigger and better things, right? From Annie.
Oh, yeah. People went on to Broadway and professional theater careers. Really impressive, some of them.
Yeah. Neat.
Mhm. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, very cool. And I'm glad
Hmm.
we appreciated it because I wasn't in that many of them.
Hmm.
I think Civic I was in 3.
Yeah. You did King and I.
Mhm.
And
Then
did you
I
do
was just in the chorus for the best Christmas pageant ever, which was fun.
and you did something for Schoolhouse Rock, didn't you?
Yeah, I was on crew for that, which was also fun.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty good.
I think I remember getting out of school to do a couple of the shows, which I think made me happiest about the entire thing.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's a good thing to do. It really is.
Mhm.
Neat.
Mhm.
Wow.
All
Dusting
right.
off an old memory or two.
If you're still with us, thanks.
Yeah. We thank you so much for staying with us here and hope you enjoy our videos. If you have any suggestions, want to do anything, let us know. Oh, a question.
Yes, for you and for everyone, what is your favorite Thanksgiving dinner food?
Traditional Thanksgiving feast is my favorite. I really like it. Turkey, mashed potatoes, sweet potatoes. My mother did the whole works. My mother would bake a couple of pies, usually one pumpkin and one apple. We would have cream corn. And by the way, your mother makes a really nice cream corn.
Hmm.
Um, she
So
took
wait,
that down to
grandma made 2 pies? You didn't have to pick, you could have a little piece of each?
yeah, yeah. And if we had a big gathering, it would be three.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was usually one pumpkin and one, and we did the Cool Whip thing. You had to kind of whip up the Cool Whip, and Uncle Felix would come over with his motorcycle and give us kids a ride on his motorcycle. I don't know if people know this, but my wife, your mother, had a motorcycle when she was a senior in high school.
Yep.
Isn't that something? I mean, not a big fancy hog or anything like that, but not too many girls who were, what would she have been, 17, 18 at the time?
In Illinois, where you probably wouldn't ride it that much of the year.
Yeah, yeah. Of course, Uncle Felix would. He was oblivious to cold and warm. A couple of my uncles were like that. Uncle Hank was a lineman for the power company. And, in the midst of freezing rain and 30 degrees, he'd be,
Yeah.
up in a cherry picker fixing the wires.
Mm-hmm. There's so many people that make the world turn with jobs like that.
Hmm. Oh,
That's one thing I like about the airport job is I feel like I'm accomplishing something.
yeah. And air travel is amazing. Can you imagine how many planes every single day
Mm-hmm.
traverse the world? And most days there's no significant problems.
Mm-hmm. And we
So
live in the
rare.
tiniest little slice of history to get to experience it.
Yeah. And then look at how far we've come.
Mhm.
I've mentioned this before. 1903, Wilbur and Orville Wright down at Kitty Hawk, North Carolina, and 66 years later, we land a man on the moon. So we
Mhm.
really progressed at a pretty rapid rate.
Mhm.
Just look at some of the diseases that we've conquered. Like polio. I mean, kids don't get for the most part measles, mumps, chicken pox, and all that.
Mhm.
You know, we've
Mhm.
really done some great things. But getting back to your question, that was my favorite Thanksgiving dinner food.
So if you had to pick just one of those things, like all the traditional fare, and you've got like one thing of leftovers, what is it?
Turkey, I think.
Oh, mine is mashed potatoes. So.
I mean, I've loved potatoes. That's one of my favorite foods.
Mhm.
Um,
Oh, and, his mother, my grandma, would boil whatever vegetable she was making and then take the vegetable out. And she wouldn't just throw the water out or drain it. She
I,
would put it in a wine glass and drink it like she was drinking a glass of fine wine.
mhm.
And did this the entire time I knew her. I watched her do it when she was 99 years old.
Yeah, she was something else. Yeah, and maybe it was the potato juice that put her up to 100
Mhm.
years old. And by the way, she was very for those of you that may be senior citizens. My mother was very healthy in her
Mhm.
90s.
Mhm.
I mean,
She
she
used to
died.
brag about having all of her teeth, and she used
Yeah, she
to
missed. She
honestly.
lost one tooth in her entire life.
She would
Uh,
make fun of other people in the senior home, like, "Oh, so and so is 99, but she's in a wheelchair, so heh, like
yeah,
grandma,
my mother
grandma."
never used a wheelchair. she had it. She had the cat, which she took care of, and those two were just inseparable.
Which is now my cat.
Yes,
She's the
Rose.
best. Grandma was so smart to leave me behind a cat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that she is a very special cat. And my mother said she used to try and read a book a week and walk a mile a day.
Mm-hmm.
And that was her thing. And she would go up and down the corridors at the retirement home, or more than likely outside. And she was in Oak Ridge, Tennessee, and you could actually walk. I was always
One of
afraid
the
somebody
times,
would come by on a skateboard and knock her down or something like that. But no, she
one of
was
the times we were down there, she had us drive to a business park because there was a pond in the middle and her favorite turtle lived there.
okay.
True story. And another time we were crossing the street in Wilmette to go to church, and a car thought we were going too slow and they honked. And I was like, really? You're honking at the 97-year-old going to church? You'll be okay.
Oh, golly. Yeah,
Mhm.
she was something else. And,
Mhm.
she played piano and sang with the USO in World War II.
Mhm.
Um, she was on one of the top committees for Ravinia Festival up north of Chicago. She did a lot of special things besides raising us kids.
I found the record. Aunt Anne sent me a record of her singing. Have you heard that?
Yes, both my mother and my father sang and made records.
Yeah.
My dad was a professional big band drummer for a while, big band swing and jazz,
Mm-hmm.
and he used to go down to the. He used to have like a paid gig, and he said for a lot of the paid gigs back in like the, um, you know, I don't know. I guess he started playing, for money when he was in the late 1920s maybe. And he said we would go and get and play a gig at a hotel or something like that, and they would pay us $5 cash for playing a couple hours. And he said I was just having fun, and
Mm-hmm.
$5 was a lot of money back in 1920, whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
And then
And
he
you
would
have
have,
a brother who's a professional guitarist as well.
yes, and he's made quite the living. I talked to him today, by the way. He has
Okay.
8 gigs in the month of December lined up.
Yeah, he's kind of hard to narrow down because if you're going to be a professional guitarist, you're going to be playing your guitar a lot.
Well, and the fact that he plays any kind of music. He's
Mm-hmm.
playing a concert where they're playing what did he call it? Jamaican fuse something or other. Um, just an amazing. I mean, he'll go to one and be heavy metal, and then the next gig he'll drag along a pedal steel and do twangy old country tunes or something like that. And
Mm-hmm.
he sings. And he has a
Bill is
really nice
actually
home in
the
Deerfield, Illinois, and he's made.
Bill is actually the second most famous person in his family.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
I had so much fun telling him. I think I told this story before with the lip dub when I was pretending to play guitar, and they
Mm-hmm.
showed that on all the networks, and it's had like 6 million views on YouTube or whatever. I called my
Mm-hmm.
brother up and I said, more people have seen me play guitar than you, and you've been doing it for 55, 60 years.
But to be fair, he was really actually. I would like do the math on that to see if that was true. With as much as he's played
Hmm?
through as much
Well,
as
he's
Chicago.
opened. He's been part of the opening act at the Horizon 3 times
Mm-hmm.
for Martina McBride. Um, let's see, Randy Travis. They were gonna do. He did Isaac Hayes too, so he was doing a little different music with Isaac Hayes. But he had a great time, and he's pretty well known throughout the Chicago area. They haven't
The
played up in
one,
Michigan so much.
what was the one that they were supposed to do, but
They were going
the
to be Tim McGraw. They were going to be the opening act for Tim McGraw,
and the
and
lead singer had to go
the
do
band.
surgery?
Yeah, one of the guys was a heart surgeon, and he had surgeries to do. He said,
That
I
what
can't make
happened?
it. My brother's like, but it's Tim McGraw,
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
he got, if anybody's interested, he got for being one member of the opening act at the Horizon, he got $1,400, and that was back a ways.
cool.
So when
The Windy City Rev Ups is the group that I know him in the most, but he's in and has been in many groups.
oh yeah, I mean the class of '68, which does happy '60s music.
Mm-hmm.
He's in a Beatles group called The Love, where they play Beatles tunes, and they're really identical to the Beatles. and they got to go to London and not London, but Liverpool, and play at the Cavern Club. They were the act that was booked into the Cavern Club.
He sings too.
And he said, we don't look like the Beatles, we don't dress like the Beatles, but we sound like the Beatles. And the Cavern Club thing was neat because the Cavern Club furnished all the guitars. My brother didn't have to drag all these guitars across the lake. I mean, the ocean, not the lake.
That would be a terrible idea.
Yeah.
Expensive instruments and planes.
Well, you remember, you're probably too young to remember. There was a guy that had a guitar smashed by United Airlines, and he wrote a song.
Oh no, I remember.
United,
I can sing the whole thing for you.
Okay, and I said that it's still got like 10 million views on YouTube.
United Breaks Guitars. It's fantastic.
Yeah, and they had to. United, of course, was all into making up with this guy when he started getting all those hits.
I watched a documentary on them making the music video for that song. They made it at a fire station in the morning, and somebody had to go get the sombreros, and the whole thing was so low budget. And then it turned into that. Good
Sometimes
for them.
that's funny. I mean, watch the first Frankenstein movie where all the headstones are made out of cardboard, and you sit there laughing through the whole movie. The actors are trying to act and everything else like that, but I mean, they've really got to be kind of chuckling as to how silly all this stuff is.
So if you're still watching at home, this is how we talk every day, just usually not on the show, usually just on the phone.
We should highlight this one. This is our longest one. We've gone like 51 minutes. We're almost into podcast territory.
The longest we've gone on about stuff that don't really have to do with the weather or the show, just us talking about our lives.
Yeah, it's fun. When you're old, you've got more past than you got future. So you're talking about what happened in the fourth inning instead of what's left to happen in the bottom of the ninth.
Oh, that's sad to think about.
No, not really. That's what life is.
I suppose.
And I'm doing well. Hey, I had a nice dinner. I'm looking forward to Thanksgiving dinner tomorrow. We got turkey and potatoes and everything, and
where did they find enough kids to be on the Bozo show that every single day?
Well, I think there was one separate audience for Monday and then one separate audience for Tuesday. Oh, we were booked up. I mean, people would sign up their kid when they were born. Seriously, people would write to the station. I just had a kid, he'll be 6 years old in 1998. Can we get Bozo tickets?
Wow. The parts I liked, like the free Twinkies, were awesome. Playing with Julia Marie's Bucket Bonanza toys, awesome. I did not like the game where we had to sit on the balloon and pop the balloon.
Yeah.
So they'd line up the kids.
With your boom boom.
Yeah, exactly. There'd be like a red team and a yellow team, and you'd have to waddle over there with the balloon between your legs, sit on it and pop it, and then go back, and it'd be the next kid's turn, and whoever got done first got an extra Twinkie or something. And I hated this game. It stressed me out. I was too little, and Mom did me a real solid. She cheated for me every time. All I had to do was sit on the balloon, and she took her massive ring and went pop, and we were done. And I was like, "You're the best mom ever. I hate this game." Back we go. So there we go. All of my Bozo break the balloon with your boom boom wins were complete fraud. Should have been disqualified.
You cheated at Bozo? I didn't know that. You cheated.
Mom never told you this? Oh, we cheated.
No.
We cheated on the balloon game
that
at
sounds
Bozo
like a great
every
idea.
single year. Oh, it happened. Like, I think the first year I was traumatized, and the next year she was like, "Don't worry, I got you." And like 3 years after that, all I did was sit there, and then the balloon popped, and we went on.
We didn't like that game because the weather office was next to the studio, and I'd be sitting there trying to record radio, and I'm like, low pressure developing over, boom, and it was just, I'm like, the DJ would come on and go, "What was that?" I said, "No, don't worry, nobody got shot." They're playing Bozo games. So then because we were on live radio at the time.
What other games did they have?
Oh,
that I don't remember. I remember one year for Christmas, he brought kids out to sing Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and had each kid sing a line. And the bit was that the kids got progressively younger, and the last kid, they'd put the microphone in their face and the kid wouldn't sing because they were 2 years old, and that was funny.
Or the kid would sing a different song or something like that.
Yes. And he picked Julia Marie, and I was really resentful because, like, I'm the singer of this family, but he doesn't know that. Uh, yeah.
Oh, we had a lot of fun. Yeah, Bozo was a great Bozo. I mean,
Yeah, he
he,
was
he
cool. He
was
was
offered
really
a chance to
nice.
do Bozo in Philadelphia, and they even offered to fly him there every week to do
Wow.
Bozo, and then I do 5 shows one day a week, and then fly him back.
And he was always really nice and friendly whenever we saw him, not just when he was playing his character.
Hmm. And he could go from one character to the next.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Yeah.
they would have sometimes we would have a guest clown come in. We'd have Dynamite, and yeah, really, really good stuff. Well, you went to clown camp.
Oh my goodness. Oh, that's so embarrassing. I'm so glad you brought that up.
And you took mom along.
Uh-huh. Okay, so
You
so
came
I
back,
told this
you had a
story.
clown for a wife.
My college friends made fun of me for the entire last year of school and to this day. So I had been a cheerleader and I was quite good at it. And there was a lot of physical stuff to it, the stunts, the gymnastics,
Sure.
whatever. And I spent a ton of time in those years being the best I possibly could because I was an old soul and I knew that was the only time of your life that you were going to get to do that. So now I'm about to graduate from college. And what am I going to do with all this training that doesn't really translate to a next step?
Hmm.
So I thought physical comedy, and the thing that I found to go try to do was clown camp.
Yeah,
And
which is up in Minnesota.
yeah, and someone had told me that we needed to fly not into Minneapolis, but into another city
St.
nearby.
Cloud, wasn't it?
Yeah, and the flights were extremely expensive, and it was less expensive for mom and I to drive together, have her go to camp too, than it would have been for me to fly to St. Cloud by myself. So
Hmm.
we did, and she went to camp, and then we got there, and they were like, "Oh no, there's a bus that comes from Minneapolis. We come pick everyone up." All
Okay.
right. Well, now mom's at clown camp for a week because of me. It was fun. We learned how to tie like poodle balloons and stuff. They filmed an episode of an engagement story. I actually, if IMDb went back that long, I have one IMDb credit to my name.
Oh, no
Um,
kidding.
and I did a stunt that they filmed on the air in that show. They were doing the sketch of the firehouse where the clowns are running around trying to put out the fire, and one runs here and they bump into each other, and one swings the ladder and all that. And
Hmm.
my job was to run up to the top of the firehouse, which was just one story, and scream like a crazy person and then jump off and touch my toes. And I did that, and they played it on the air in that episode of an engagement story that they had filmed at the camp.
Oh, no kidding. Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
So there you go. Some people from Annie went to Broadway and
Yeah.
are like directing New York theater and all this stuff right now. And I was in one episode of a TMZ show about clown camp. No, not TMZ, TLC. I don't know. One of those.
Yeah. That's really fun. All that fun stuff that you do in life. It's really neat to be able to dust off a memory or two.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so were you ever in a play?
Yes, I did 2 plays. I did one play when I was in 8th grade when I played an old man and they dyed my hair gray. And then I kind of had to talk like Walter Brennan, just nice and slow like this. I thought I was pretty good. And then I did one play when I was in college called Humorology, which we wrote ourselves. Um, and we had 4 performances it was sold out. So it was 2,000 a performance. So that was 8,000 people saw it. And I wore tights. And I am
Nice.
so glad nobody had cell phones back then because I would be so embarrassed. But yeah, and I had to sing one line by myself. It wasn't words. It was just to hit a bunch of notes together, and I managed to do that
You
four
sing
times.
fine. Your
Um,
singing is perfectly adequate.
the theme of our it was 15-minute segments that groups of students agreed to do,
Mm.
and our group did a 15-minute segment about how other media would better describe a situation than words. Like we had people driving to a funeral, and they were, it was hard to tell, are they driving to a funeral or a wedding or what? They're saying, Uncle Jack is going to be there and all this kind of stuff. And then
Mm.
we would do a dance or something like that, a dirge or something like that. It was part dance, it was part. We went from one thing to another, kind of like a marching band at halftime of a football game, where you go into one formation and then to another formation. So it was kind of a lot to remember. But But yeah, those are the two plays I was in.
Oh, very cool.
I've been asked to do. I was asked to do a couple others, but my schedule did not permit that. I have two. What is it? IMBD credits or whatever it is.
Hmm.
IMB. I have one for the lip dub, and I have one for being the guest on the Science Channel. So one of their segments. Every
Yeah.
now and then, somebody comes up and tells me that because they've run that segment a number of different times.
And I
It was on-
remember you reading verses in church. You were the verse reader sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. And because I've been prominent on TV, I did a lot of, I was the MC of this. I was the MC of Math Counts 37 years, did Science Olympiad for 30 years. Last year I did the conducting the symphony.
Will you tell the story of Children's Bible Hour when you did the story and you got the postcard?
Oh, from somebody in Phoenix, Arizona that heard the show
Yeah.
and said, I just heard this Children's Bible Hour, and there was a guy in there that sounded just like you.
Yeah, so that was a Christian radio show, and he
Yeah.
played one of the characters on one of the stories. He was the voice actor for one of the stories, and someone in Phoenix heard it and thought it sounded like Dad and sent him a postcard.
Right. It's amazing, you get something like that happen. Like the guy in Israel that recognized me from doing the weather on News Nation Saturday evenings for a while. I did the weather for the entire country on News Nation on Saturday nights for, golly, it was like 3 or 4 months or something like that. And this guy, I'm in Israel, and I'm just standing there with this group, and this guy says, you look kind of familiar. And I'm like, oh, you're from Michigan? No. And I said, well, then you probably don't know me. And he said, no, I think I've seen you before. And I said, where do you live? And he said, Miami. And he was a tourist down there. And so we could have very easily not connected and found out that, that it was actually, so he said, I watch News Nation. And I went, wow, do you ever watch on Saturday night? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I made a couple of jokes, they were used to having a pretty straight-laced thing. And I remember doing a forecast for the Daytona 500 saying that there was no driving rain. And I did a couple of car weather jokes in there, and that kind of impressed him. Lighten up the weather and all that kind of stuff. That was really a difficult assignment because you never knew how much time you were going to have. You had to load a show, and I had 30 seconds, and then I had 3 minutes with these segments.
Challenging.
So yeah, it was interesting, and it's a lot easier to do a long show. What are we at now?
We made it. We're at an hour or two, and it's Thanksgiving, so maybe someone will be bored enough to watch it.
Right, or you can always pause it and watch part of it later. This will be here forever. When I am,
or until we take it down.
Long since past the pearly gates, I will be looking back and there it is. There it is. The podcast we did the day before Thanksgiving in 2025. Woohoo! Neat.
Okay, well, happy Thanksgiving to you and everyone. I'm sure I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, thank you so much for staying with us here until the end. I hope you have yourself a wonderful holiday today, and enjoy this cold air. You can't do much about it, so you might as well enjoy it as best you can. Drive carefully out there.